Welcome to week 2 of our Peter Pan Playbill 3rd grade Expedition 2 Visual Arts Project. This week we're going to be working on some art skill practice so that we're ready for our second draft, which we're going to be starting next week. I'm very excited, and let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to be going on this week. We're going to be practicing 5 skills. You have been provided 5 skill sheets, which is basically a space to practice your drawing skills on. This was available on Friday during supply pickup. If you weren't able to get those, that's okay. You can use white paper or notebook paper if you need. Because we have 5 different skills we need to practice, I suggest doing one each day so it's not overwhelming. But whatever works best for your family is great. This is just a suggestion. I have some examples of more Peter Pan playbills. I also included the cover art from a more recent copy or edition of Peter Pan for some inspiration. This week you have 5 steps. We're going to do the first 2 steps together, and the last 3 steps are to be done independently after you're done watching this video. You could always ask a family member for help if you need. The first step is to watch this directional video. If you're doing that right now, fantastic. When you're done with this video, you can go ahead and mark that step off in your brain. The next thing we're going to do together is review our learning targets so you know exactly what our goal is for this lesson. The last 3 you're going to do independently, but we'll go over what each one looks like and sounds like so you can do it on your own. You're going to need today your skills practice sheets. We already talked about that. A number 2 pencil and eraser, and something to color with. If you have a whiteboard and a dry erase marker, plus a dry erase eraser, you are welcome to use that if you'd like to do extra practice before you draw on your skills practice sheet. We have 3 learning targets this week. The first one is, I can share 2 facts about Mary Blair and tell 2 facts about her artwork. I think that's supposed to say I can learn 2 facts about Mary Blair and tell 2 facts about her artwork. I'll make sure to change that. Our second learning target is I can practice my drawing skills by using step-by-step drawing guides. This will help me to draw these things later on my own. And our last learning target is I can complete all 5 skill sheets as best I can. Remember, friends, this is practice, so it's okay if our work isn't perfect. This is to get us used to using these skills and to see the sequential order that we can do art things in to make complex images. The slide directional video that you're watching, once it's complete, I'll upload it and plug it into the slides right here. So if you're watching this, you've already done this step. Great job! Great. This is our artist exemplar. Her name is Mary Blair. She was an artist who we talked about a little bit last week during our Zoom call. If you haven't had a chance to watch the video, Pocket Full of Colors, there's a read aloud right here. There's also a short biography of Mary Blair right here. If you click on this blue lettering, it will take you to the site. Once you're done reading these things and watching these things, you should be able to know 2 things about Mary Blair, and you should be able to tell somebody those facts. I'm going to go on to the next slide like this, because otherwise the video would start playing automatically. So we've already talked about this, but we're practicing art skills today that we're going to be using on both our second and our final draft. So this is a way for us to get familiar with those skills so that we can become experts at them. We're going to start off by using shapes to draw something difficult, and also to use drawing guides to help us draw something difficult. The first thing we're going to work on is drawing landscapes. Skill sheet number 1. I can't draw landscapes until I practice. You're going to use the worksheets below to practice drawing at least one landscape. You can draw your landscape on your skill sheet, and you can practice on a whiteboard beforehand if you'd like. We have 1, 2, 3 different landscapes that you can choose from that are step-by-step guides on paper. So you would look at the first box, draw that, draw the next part, and on and on and on and on until you get to the last square. That's more independent. These are some additional resources for you so that you can take a look at different attributes and things that you could add to your landscape. On the next slide, we have 2 directional videos on how to draw landscapes. If you didn't want to use the paper step-by-step guides to draw landscapes, you could do one of these 2 videos. You just need to turn in a photo of one landscape that is completed to Google Classroom on Friday. So you have many choices to choose from. And that's how it automatically plays. Let me go on to the next skill right here. Drawing people. Peter Pan drawing skill number 2, drawing people. Again, we have a lot of choices of what we can do and how we can draw people. We have these drawing guides to help us so we can look and use our observational skills to draw a person. We have these guides right here. And we also have a directional video. However, if we go back to our first slide, I notice right here it says use the worksheets below to practice drawing at least one character from Peter Pan. So your goal is not just to practice drawing any person, it's to draw a character from Peter Pan. I would really love for your characters to look like your own version of the character rather than the Disney version of Peter Pan characters. Disney's Peter Pan characters were created by Mary Blair. They came from her curiosity and creativity, and I'd like to see what the characters look like through your curiosity and creativity. If you'd like to do more than one character, draw more than one character from Peter Pan, you're welcome to, but let's go ahead and try to have at least one completed. When you're done drawing it, you of course can add color. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next skill because I want to skip that video. All right, the next thing that you're going to work on is drawing London. Some of you might be interested in drawing the London skyline because that's a big feature in the Peter Pan book and in the play and in the movie. London is the largest city in England, and it's also its capital. There are some other facts right here that you can read about on your own, and you can also take a look at this photograph of the skyline. I see Big Ben right here, and I believe it's called the Sky's Eye, which is the big Ferris wheel. That's something that I can look up later. What you're going to do next is you are going to draw the cityscape following these directions. So basically what you'll do is you'll get out your skill sheet, and you will draw a horizon line at the bottom of the paper inside your rectangle. You can do this in pencil. The directions ask for you to do it in marker because they have this very fancy way of going over the marker with a paintbrush to make it kind of turn into watercolor paint. If you want to do that, you can. You don't have to. The directions are right here if you'd like that. But again, you can just draw the skyline by drawing a horizon line, looking at all of these examples and drawing the buildings along the horizon line so they overlap a little bit, like this bottom one right here. Here are some more visual reference guides to help you in drawing your London landscape. Cityscape. I also included this house right here. This is the house that the Darlings house is based on. So this is actually the building that inspired the author of Peter Pan and where he imagined all of the events taking place. Here are some other drawing guides that you could use. This looks like a drawing guide that we've already seen, so I'll take that one out. But if you haven't drawn this one yet and you'd like to give it a try for this step, you can do that. So maybe I'll leave it in. Here's a drawing guide for drawing Big Ben if that's what you wanted to include. Also another city skyline showing you how to use shapes to draw a cityscape. Our drawing skill number 4 is drawing the Jolly Roger and other elements of Peter Pan. So you can choose one of these to draw. You could draw the Jolly Roger, the crocodile, you could draw a map of Neverland, a different element from Peter Pan besides London and besides the characters. You have all of these different choices that you could do. Here's another house drawing. And I was thinking of Wendy's house that they create for her. This could be a good way to practice drawing that. How to draw the night sky. So again, you can draw any of those things. And you could choose any of these videos to follow along with to draw an additional element from Peter Pan so that you get some extra practice. This one right here, how to draw a treasure map, is a long video, so just keep that in mind. If you do choose that, you'll be dedicating about 20 minutes of your life to this. And if you choose the other ones, they're a little bit shorter. I'll click to the next slide this way. Right? The last resource we have right here is a map of Neverland. So if you want to also use that as a reference guide and you're drawing Neverland, a Neverland map, it's right there for you to take a look at. The last thing that we need to work on today is drawing bubble letters and fancy script. The only words you're going to be including on your Playbill final draft are the words Peter Pan because that's the title of the play. So you can practice drawing them as block letters, bubble letters. There are directions right here. If you'd like to click on this picture, it will take you to a document that shows you how to draw all of the letters as 3D letters with a drawing guide. Also, if you would like, you can practice writing in cursive. These are haiku poems that you could trace and then write underneath. These are not included in your project packet, but I will link the photo or the documents in there if you want to print them out. And we also have 2 more directional videos for how to make bubble letters. If you would like to do those instead of any of the drawing guides, that's fine, as long as you have one skill sheet for each of our 5 different kinds of drawing lessons turned in. We just talked about that, so I need 5 photos, 1 for each skill set, turned in by Friday at 8 p.m. And I will also link the skill sheets into one of the first slides, so in case you need to print anything out, you can, and it will be available. Your work will be graded on if it's completed or not. And if you'd like to do some optional extra art, we have this marquee sign lesson plan. If you click on it, it will show you the directions. And this is an example from one of our 5th graders who created this last year. They did a fantastic job. It would be really cool to think up of a theater where your Peter Pan play would take place. So I thought that that would be a fun lesson to do if you wanted to do some optional extra art. You could take a picture of it and email it to me. You could upload it to Artsonia, or you could turn it in with the rest of your skill sheets. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me using any of these contact points, and Let's stop right here until next week when we'll be working on our second draft. Make sure everything's turned into Google Classroom, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.